Breathing in, I am aware that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am aware that I am breathing out. Breathing in, I'm aware of my body. I'm aware of the crown of my head, my face, my neck, my shoulders, my arms, my hands, my fingers, my fingertips, my upper body, my lower body. I'm aware of my buttocks, my thighs, the bend of my knees, my calves, my foot, and my toes. Breathing out. It's so wonderful to have my body. My body is a wonderful living organism. Breathing in, I am fully aware of my body. Breathing out, I smile to the wonders of having a body. Aware of my body, smiling. Dear friends, dear Thai, dear brothers and sisters and dear friends, today is September 22nd in the year 2019. We are at Deer Park Monastery in Escondido, California, during the 3 months rain retreat. This year, for our rain retreat, we have a theme that we will be teaching about. And the theme is nurturing body, mind, and right action. And I get to nurture my body. Our body is so wonderful. It's so wonderful, and so many things are possible because of our body. We can play, we can walk around, we can hold the hands of our loved ones, we can embrace our children, and sometimes we forget how wonderful it is to actually have a body. I've had this body, I have this body for 36 years. And before that, it belonged to my parents. And before that, it belonged to my grandparents. Before that, it belonged to my ancestors. So saying that my body, or this body, is not actually mine, but it has been entrusted to me by my ancestors. And they have trusted me with the responsibility of being able to care and nurture for them. Therefore, to continue on with children, I won't have my own biological children, but even for our children in the future. The trust that we hand over something. Yeah, maybe in the beginning, our parents took care of us when we were little because we didn't know how. We didn't know how. But now as adults, we have more than enough conditions to be able to take care of our body and to be responsible for our body. You can say this is your own body, but in fact it is the body of your ancestors. As we have seen very clearly, I was lent this body is on lease. This body is on lease. Entrusted from my ancestors and so many generations of blood family. So far, I think I've done pretty well. I think. Yeah. Still happy, healthy, smiling. Everything is functioning as it should. And how well have you been taking care of your body? We often see as once we are born, we see that we are separate already. We came from our mother's womb, and then once we cut the umbilical cord is cut, then we are separate. I am myself. I have to survive. The first sense of survival is trying to grasp your first breath as a child when you just come out of the womb. And taking in the first breath is an act of survival. Because before your mother was breathing for you, your mother was eating for you. And so for the whole of your life, you've grown to how to protect this body, how to sustain this body. And it's not easy. It's not easy to maintain this body. You know, when we were younger, we did a lot of things. As older, as adults, we sort of regret that. Going to parties and college, getting hung over and just feeling all of your insides go outside of yourself. And maybe have been very careless while playing sports and all of that. We really weren't tapped into our body enough because it was almost just like a vessel to use and not really care for. As a practitioner, I've become very aware of my body. And about 12 years ago, in 2007, we were on a trip to Vietnam with Thai, and I was a part of the sound team. And we were our own entourage. We had our own sound tech. We were the sound tech. We didn't hire a sound tech crew. And so everything was done all in-house. So it was just myself, another sister, and 2 other brothers. And we had to set up the hall for every single lecture that Thai gave, because it was one day after the next, different locations. And so I remember one time, I was still healthy enough. I had in each hand a speaker, the exact same one, each hand, those 2 speakers. In the back, in my backpack, huge backpack filled with cables, electric cables, this microphone cables, and in the front, a backpack full of microphones. So I was pumped up. I really carried, and I had to walk through the alley because our van couldn't drive through the alley in Vietnam. So we had to walk all of our equipment in and carrying all of this. And I felt, yes, I can do this. And it was a kilometer walk, about 2 miles in. A half a mile in, and going back out and carrying other stuff and going back in. So it was easy. In Vietnamese, they have a term like 17 bẻ gãy sừng trâu. A 17-year-old can break the horns of a buffalo. That's how strong you are. How strong I was. And later on, about 4 years ago, I was working as a shopper with one of the brothers for one of the US tours, and we order a lot of food that comes in. And then I was throwing these big bags of carrots, about 25 pounds of carrots, just like they were pillows. And if you ask me to do it now, I would have to hug it like a big baby, and then just walk it in. And I realized in my own body, I'm not that old, but I realized that there's a limit to it. When you have so much strength as youth, so much of the adrenaline, whatever it is, and that gives you that idea that you're strong and macho. Once you go older, it starts to slow down. Your body starts to slow down. And sometimes we push ourselves. We push ourselves to thinking that we're still young enough to do what we did 4 years ago, 20 years ago. And sometimes it's kind of hard for us to accept. And I know that I've been taking care of a lot of elderly people, and they say, I can do it myself. I can walk up the stairs myself. I don't need your help. And then they're like, okay, I need someone to hold my hand to walk up. And so sometimes that we neglect our own body, and we believe that we are still the same as we were 20 years ago, 15 years ago, even 4 years ago. And we push ourselves. And so in my practice has been just accepting where my body is. I'm still quite healthy. I can still run, I can still jog, I can still carry things. And sometimes I tease the sisters, anything that I touch, it still breaks, because my hands are still strong. But sometimes I realize that I need to allow my body to rest more than I did before. So one of the things that comes into our body and nurturing our body is the relaxation, making time to relax. You know, when you were younger, Friday nights and Saturday nights, sometimes even Thursday nights, would be out late, having fun with friends, coming home at 2 or 3 in the morning, and repeating it all over again, and on Sunday crashing, and then Monday morning forgetting to wake up to get to class. And now I'd rather stay in, read a book, and then feel refreshed, relax, mow the lawn, if there's a lawn, walk the dog, and then come to Deer Park. And that's enough. Enough happiness. No need to fill all of that in. I have, this year I have started my fast. I am at 7-day already. Today is my 7th day. And I feel great. So I don't have to eat. But one of the other elements that comes in to nurture our body is food. We eat every day. And as we grow older, we become more in touch with our body. We become more aware of what our intake is and how it affects our body. It's very simple. If I eat healthy, exercise, then my body will be healthy, and I will be able to function normally and help with all of the diseases. And yeah, oftentimes I've become more aware. I caught myself becoming more aware of what I eat and having that balance within myself. In the Buddhist teachings, he teaches a lot about being aware of the body. If you've been to Plum Village many times, we've heard the sutras of the 4 establishments of mindfulness. And the first one is aware of the body in the body. And then in the sutra, the most basic sutra, the sutra of the 16 awareness of breathing, he teaches about the first 4 breaths of exercise is to recognize your in and out breath and to recognize it and to calm it. Even though it's only focusing on the in and out breath, but our breath is a part of our body. So being aware of our in-breath and our out-breath and calming our in-breath and our out-breath is the same as being aware of our body and calming our body. And there is another sutra that speaks, called the Anapatintika Sutra. It's on the other side of being aware of the body, sort of recognizing that this body being thrown in the charnel ground will bloat, will have maggots and all of that stuff. You know, there's a lot of focus around the body. It's disgusting, I know, but that's the reality of it. And that teaching in particular is to not become attached to this body. It is not to scare you at all. It's not to scare you. It's just not to become too attached to it. There's a sutra that speaks about how to sustain and maintain and to take care of your body. The Buddha was quite detailed on how to eat. At Deer Park Monastery and all our Plum Village centers, we have a practice of eating meditation. I'm a foodie. I love to eat. And I don't eat just with my mouth or just for the pleasure of eating, but I like to taste everything that I can on the plate. You know, when you go to fine dining and everything is so little, you get a slice of radish, a leaf of arugula, and like a drop of balsamic vinegar with whatever it is. And I've never been to fine dining. This is what I see in the magazines, you know, and I'm like, you pay hundreds of dollars for that? The experience of just being able to taste the food. You can come to Deer Park and you can get a full plate and you can have the same experience of tasting the food. But the practice of mindful eating is not simply just eating and chewing the food 30 times, 40 times, and swallowing. The other night, I offered orientations for friends, and I said, the meditation starts way before the actual eating. Our body has a clock. And when it comes just right about that time, it'll tell you it's hungry. Right about 12:15, your stomach starts to feel empty and it starts to growl a little bit. And that's when the meditation of eating meditation can happen. You become aware of that sensation in your body. You're tapped into your body to feel that. And then you start to salivate. Your mouth starts to have a lot of saliva. And if you're having Dharma discussion at that time, right by the pepper tree, and you can smell all of the wonderful food that is coming from the kitchen, whatever the brothers and sisters are cooking, your mind starts to wander already. How much longer is this discussion? What time is it? Is it time to eat? So many things are happening just by the sensation of smelling the food. And then when you hear the bell, being invited for lunch, and the facilitator has not yet wrapped up, you're like, come on, it's time, I need to go to lunch because I'm hungry. So that whole time is the time for you to meditate and to be aware of all of the things that happen inside your body. And then standing in line, the agony of standing in line. You're in the sun, it's hot, and it's so long, and you can't wait. Then you wonder, what's happening? What are we having for lunch? Why can't they hurry up? All of that. Feelings and thoughts are happening just around food. It's the start of your meditation. because you are aware of what happens to your body, what happens to your mind. And then you serve yourself. At the monastery, the monks and nuns join our palms and we bow to receive our plates and bowls. It's a simple act, but it's an act of gratitude to know that by the end of 5 or 10 minutes, you will have a plate full of food. And oftentimes, when I stand there and I serve myself, because by then, so many things have been happening in your brain, all of these thoughts, and you're hungry. I don't want to say starving, not necessarily starving, but you believe you are. And you start to serve yourself. And you serve what you think you need, but not necessarily what you know you need. Because at that moment, do you want to listen to your mind, or do you want to listen to your body, your stomach? Sometimes when we go to a buffet, we eat more than our body can handle. And that's when the first button of our jeans comes loose. And I don't have jeans, so I know. It's the elastic pants. So it's easier to hide underneath the robe. But we don't listen to our body. We listen to our desires and our fear, our mind of what we think. And so my practice is when I am serving myself, I scoop, let's say I serve rice, I take a ladle of rice, of what I think. Then I drop that ladle back in, and I scoop less than what I've initially scooped up. And I put it on my plate. Just taking a little less than what you think. Because there are so many other dishes you want to try too. So many other dishes. And if you take the amount of what you think of each dish, you'll end up with a lot of food. You'll end up with a lot of food. And so the practice of meditation, of eating meditation, doesn't start with the verb eating, the verb to eat. It starts with everything else in preparation for that. We have the 5 contemplations that we read. And in the 5 contemplations, it said, the first one is, this food is a gift of the whole universe, the earth, the sky, numerous living beings, and much hard and loving work. That's very simple. This is simple. You know, when we have a gratitude, we're able to recognize that very easily. And yet, sometimes when we practice that, and I catch myself sometimes, when I practice that, I'm only just aware of simply the food in front of me and gratitude for that. And that's it. That's all there is to the practice of contemplating. It's just being aware that everything is connected. But at the same time, everything is connected for me to have this plate of food, but it's not connected to me. It's the earth and the sun, the rain, the clouds, and the farmers, the worker, and the cooks have prepared this food, but there's no connection to me. I'm just the receiver end of this gift. And I realized that if I want to practice consuming deeply, to eating my food deeply, I have to be able to see the interconnectedness and the interbeing of my food. It's not simply just eating and watering the seeds of gratitude for everything that has come together for me. Am I a part of that stream of elements that have brought this food? There's earlier I mentioned the sutra on the 4 nutriments, And I would like to read that for you. I would like to read just a part of it for you. The first nutriments. Discourse on the 4 kinds of nutriments. This is what I heard one time when the Buddha was in Anapatintika Monastery in the Jeta Grove near the town of Shravasti. That day, the Buddha told the monks, there are 4 kinds of nutriments which enable living beings to grow and maintain life. What are these 4 nutriments? The first is edible foods. The second is the food of sense impression. The third is the food of volition. And the fourth is the food of consciousness. Bhikkhus. Bhikkhus are fully ordained monks. Bhikkhus. How should a practitioner regard edible foods? Imagine a young couple with a baby boy whom they look after and raise with all their love. One day, they decide to bring their son to another country to make a living. They have to go through difficulties and dangers of a desert. During the journey, they run out of provision and fall extremely hungry. There is no way out for them. And they discuss the following plan. We only have one son, whom we love with all our heart. If we eat his flesh, we shall survive and manage to overcome this dangerous situation. If we do not eat his flesh, all 3 of us will die. After this discussion, they kill their son. With tears of pain and gritting their teeth, they eat the flesh of their son, just so as to be able to live and come out of the desert. The Buddha asked, do you think that the couple ate their son because they wanted to enjoy its taste? And because they wanted their bodies to have nutriment? That would make them more beautiful? The monks replied, no, Lord. The Buddha then asked, were the couple forced to eat their son's flesh in order to survive and escape the dangers of the desert? The monks replied, yes, Venerable Lord. The Buddha taught, monks, every time we ingest edible foods, we should train ourselves to look at it as our son's flesh. If we meditate on it in this way, we shall have clear insight and understanding, which puts an end to misperceptions about edible foods, and our attachment to sensual pleasures will dissolve. When I first learned this sutra, it was kind of hard to digest. Very hard to digest. How can the Buddha be so violent, eating the flesh of our son? That example, so raw. It's an act of survival. It didn't sit well with me. It's like, no, I'm not going to go into that. And later on, I realized it's not about eating the flesh of our son. It's not as simple as just eating the flesh of our son. It's because I still see the connection of edible foods as separate from myself. To be able to understand the sutra, or at least this part of the sutra, you also need to have the insight of interbeing and interconnectedness with yourself and the food. The simple act of this food is a gift of the whole universe, the earth, the sky, and all of that is still, in a sense, a disconnection to yourself. When I was in England in May, I was asked to lead eating meditation during the day of mindfulness, just to give a brief orientation on eating. And I had a realization that a piece of carrot that I had in my bowl took so long to nurture for it to become a piece of carrot. It took an X amount of months, an X amount of gallons of water, a number of heat, all of that in the earth to have a carrot. And the same thing with my body. In this present form, it took an X amount of years, 36 years, for me to have this body in this present form, nurtured by the earth, nurtured by the sun, nurtured by the rain, the clouds, and everything else. So myself and the carrot are not two separate things. We are the same. We are nurtured by the same element. We just take a different form. We have a different time of manifestation, have a different time of being nurtured by the earth. So that wisdom, that insight of interbeing between myself and the carrot, myself and the food, is real. So it's not me just receiving this gift from the universe, the earth, the rain, the water, the sun, the clouds, the farmers, and the chef. But I am that carrot. It is a different manifestation of myself. And at the same time, I had another realization that I am a manifestation of Mother Earth. I am Mother Earth in a different form because she nurtured us. You can say Mother Earth is the trees. Mother Earth is the mountains. Mother Earth is the body of water. Mother Earth is so many things, yet Mother Earth is not a human being. That is completely wrong. Mother Earth is a human being. And even in our own body, there is life and death happening in every minute. Every second, our cells die. We shed skin. We don't see it, but we shed skin. If you go to the Korean spa and they scrub you, you see all these layers of dead skin. You're like, ew. We shed our skin. They die. They're part of this living organism that we hold and we carry. All the germs, the probiotics, all of these intestinal bacteria, all of that stuff, they're living independent from our idea of us controlling our body. We think we can control our heart. Sorry. It is its own living organism. We just happen to hold it within this sack of skin. It's a bit disgusting, sorry. But that's the reality. So we are no different than Mother Earth. We are just a different manifestation, another manifestation of Mother Earth. and the cricket. We are another manifestation of her. So, how do we nurture? We use Mother Earth to nurture ourselves and to nurture back. The way that we eat nourishes this manifestation body of Mother Earth. And in return, how we eat the food, contemplating deeper than just simply chewing 30 times, contemplating deeper than just recognizing this is a gift I am receiving. This is me. No different. I am the carrot, I am the tofu, scrambled up in this wonderful stir fry. All of that is no different than me. I am receiving this love, and I am this love. So when you use that kind of insight to contemplate the analogy that the Buddha has offered of eating the sun's flesh, how we consume now has the capacity to deprive life. There is a difference when we eat an organic carrot. Not only does it taste delicious and fragrant, but at the same time, we are nurturing the earth. And for non-organic foods. And this means that there is pesticide being used and all other things that are harmful to the earth. Though it is not directly affecting us, or we believe it is not directly affecting us, but in the bigger circle, it comes back to us because we are the earth. We are the earth. You may see it as a separate self. Has nothing to do with you. So that sun of yours is not the actual sun. It is the earth. It is the animals. It is the plants. It is the mineral, the waters. It is not the sun that you have birthed, but it's the sun that we all share on planet Earth. There is a movie where Keanu Reeves, it's not The Matrix, plays himself as Keanu Reeves. And he comes into this restaurant and he is having dinner with friends. And it's an immersive restaurant where you can eat your steak and hear the actual cow where the steak comes from. Now, I think some of us know which movie that is. So as you're eating, you're listening to the headphones, and you are eating this meat, and you hear the cow. I don't know if I would be able to do that. And it's just a movie, but in reality, we void everything else in that. If you can hear the cow that you are actually eating, how does that feel? Would you be able to ingest that? I was like, ugh. Luckily, the carrot only has a crunchy sound to it. And so sometimes we believe that there's no connection between what we are eating and to this bigger circle of life. So in this teachings, in this sutra, the Buddha specifically said, to enable living beings to grow and to maintain life. He did not say maintain only human life. There was no distinction between any beings. To eat in such a way that you can enable all living beings to grow and to maintain life. This is not trying to convert anyone into being organic or vegan or becoming a vegetarian. It's not. It's helping us to find that connection to everything that is around us, because we've grown into isolating ourselves and living as separate entities from the very moment when our umbilical cord has been cut off. We believe that we're separate from our mother. We are different. We treat our body as our own, however way we want to, because it's not my mother's body. There's no connection to it. And it is that ignorance that continues to isolate us and we continue to suffer. And we continue to live in loneliness. So being aware of the food that we eat, having the wisdom and the insight of interconnectedness with the food on a deeper level, and seeing that you are the food, seeing that you are Mother Earth. You yourself have been nurtured by the very same thing, the carrot, the tofu, the broccoli, the lettuce. You are no different than all of that. It will help you live more deeper and become more aware of all of the things that is happening around you. So the choices that we make in relation to foods have consequences beyond our plate and our bowls. It is not simply how we feel after we eat something. It is not accidentally chewing on a chili pepper that makes us spicy and our nose start to run and then we need to grab a glass of water. It's not just so simple as that. You are so much a part of a web of living beings, and yet we forget that all the time, and we live isolated. You are Mother Earth. You are the embodiment of so many different living beings on your very own body. So many living beings are taking refuge inside of you. Inside of you. And sometimes you don't have any control over that. But to create a wonderful environment and a place of refuge, just like our Mother Earth. On Friday, millions of children walked out of school to have their voices heard in the crisis of climate change. And the monks and nuns of the Plum Village centers across the globe also joined in that cry. And because if we see, as monastics, we don't have children, but those children skipping school for their own future are crying out. They are our children. They are the children whose flesh that we are eating without even knowing. We deprive them of their chance to live by the way that we consume our edible foods and by the way that we consume other things. The way that we live our life. So this life, just like my body, is not my own. It is of my ancestors. It has been given to me and entrusted to me by my ancestors to have the responsibility to care for and to nurture. They also entrust me to be able to transmit to my future descendants the same body. But if I cannot I don't have my own biological children, then I can have another body which I can offer them, which is the body of Mother Earth, because she and I are one. And becoming a vegan or a vegetarian is not just for the diet. It's not just for a trend. It's not just for another hashtag or healthy living or whatever it is, but it's from an act of compassion, of interbeing, interconnectedness for yourself, because you are the body or Mother Earth of the past. You are the Mother Earth of the present, and you are Mother Earth of the future. So to water and nurture the seeds of interconnectedness and how we consume. So eating meditation has gone beyond the plates and bowls. It's gone beyond the plates and bowls. It is really touching yourself, touching Mother Earth, and enabling life, living beings to continue to grow. This sharing is supposed to be about nurturing our body, nurturing our body. And so it's also nurturing the body of our mother, because we are the children of Mother Earth. So therefore we are Mother Earth. And I have, if you would like to practice throughout this week, because it will be another week until we come back. And this is something that we are trying to offer you so that you can deepen your practice with us, because we are in the 3 months retreat, and it's a time for study and practice. And even though you are not physically here with us, and you can also continue to practice at home. When you have the chance to, I would like to invite all of you to download the Plum Village app. We have a Plum Village app, and under the meditation tab, to listen to the teachings of eating meditation and to apply that to what I call a 3-bite meditation. If you're not accustomed to eating silently, or if you have work that you cannot have a full 20 minutes of mindful eating, then you can try the 3-bite meditation. Just taking the first bite of your sandwich and eating it mindfully. And touching, not just the sensation of the food, the taste and the flavors, and chewing it, but touching the interconnection, the interbeing between you and the food. Seeing deeper the roots of your own roots, in order to nurture your body, to feel connected, to feel less lonely. And the second homework I would like to offer is to listen at least once a day, a 15-minute deep relaxation. It's in the app. There's many different relaxations, just 15 minutes. And if you can't find 15 minutes, you can do the 5-minute one. There is also the 5-minute one. But to encourage you to apply this. And this worked. When we were in England, we had an urban retreat. It wasn't a live-in residential retreat. So we met everyone at the end of their workday. So they literally came from their office to the church. And it was a retreat every evening, every other evening for 2 hours. And we gave them homework every day. And they practiced that every day. By the 3rd day that we met, we had very deep discussions, very deep healing and transformation and openness. So this is a retreat you can take home. The monks and nuns and the lay friends here are definitely practicing all of this every day. And we offer this to you as something that you can apply to your everyday life. So you are in retreat with us away from the retreat. And next week when we meet each other again, we can go deeper into our practice of nurturing our body and the experiences that we have had throughout the week of eating our food, nurturing the insight of interbeing, nurturing the connectedness, and taking care and relaxing our body. So that is what I offer you, and as a start and as my practice, the insight of interbeing in terms of eating food. And not only myself, but we are all the children of Mother Earth. We are Mother Earth. And it is our responsibility to be able to take care of our physical body, this manifestation body of Mother Earth, and also her manifestation body. Thank you for being here.